Well, here we are, Thursday morning, on the highway. We can see a lot of traffic coming from the east. Some people are coming as far away as Mayaro to head into Port of Spain. Other parts from Icacos to Port of Spain. I knew a guy who used to work taxi, and he was coming from Icacos to work in Port of Spain, Vigo Martin, St. James. Oh yes, a lot of people do that. Another lady from Icacos used to go down to all the way down to Federation Park. Did it every day. Hey, look.
Yeah, man.
What are you doing out here?
Looking at traffic. I can hardly believe the hustle from very early this morning. And it just takes me right back to 30 years ago when our kids were young and had to be taken every morning into Port of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you think of parents these days having to take their young little ones to kindergarten. You have those who are going to elementary school, those who go in secondary school, young ones who can drive themselves to university. And it just makes you feel so thankful, so very thankful for where we are today in life as retirees. Lancy, one of the things I really look forward to in retirement is sleeping in late.
Yeah.
And it is now 15 years since I have been retired, and really I enjoy my late sleep.
Very good.
But I often think when our grandchildren start to go to school, you think of our children in the rat race every morning, and I would feel so sorry that they have this great responsibility. But you know something? As the old people say, cow horn is never too hard to carry. You know that saying?
Yes, cow horns never do hard to carry.
Yeah.
That's right, it's yours, you're going to bear it.
Exactly. And I look back, sometimes when I think about them in the rat race, I would think, but Louise, you and Lance had your equal share of it.
That's right.
I remember in the days when you were at the Express, and every morning by 6:30, we had to leave home. Lasana is asleep in the car, and you will take him down and you will give him a shower under a standpipe near where his little kindergarten was in Belmont. And you all dressed up in your nice long sleeve shirt and tie and socks and shoes, and you bathing a little boy 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 under standpipe. I mean, it's ridiculous, but real.
It is real.
It was real. And then you will give him his breakfast and take him to kindergarten, and then go report to work while I am at NP. You drop off the girls at school. And that went on for many years. And then in 1980, when you had to change jobs, and you decided you no longer wanted to be a journalist, and you went into your own business, trucking. That was a real adjustment in my life. Because here it is, as a family, every morning you drove us to school, to work, and I was just in the front seat there, combing the children here while we go. And now in 1980, which was like 10 years after we were married and had fitting to a normal flow of family life, the big change came. And at that stage, I had to go get my license and drive these children into Port of Spain. Charlotte Street, one of the busiest area anybody could think about driving. And here I am, a novice driver with 3 little precious hearts in my hands, and having that great responsibility to take them to school, then to report to work for 7:30.
Wow.
So the joke about it was that every morning we would be hustling, leaving home by 6:30. And the traffic, we didn't have as many cars as we have now. Look at that bumper to bumper traffic at almost 8 o'clock. And people are supposed to be in work for 8 o'clock, eh?
I tell you.
This take me right back to my time. And I remember we will be hustling. Sometimes it's dark in the morning, 6:30 dark, and you hustling out with these children who still have to eat breakfast, who's here still to comb, and you realize you're not alone in this quest. And you're seeing children 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning brushing their teeth, the mother plaiting their hair. Some mothers who didn't have children now putting on their makeup, you know. And it still happens. You can still on the morning if we go to see, we will see.
That's right.
And I'm talking about 30, 40 years ago.
You know something, Louise? This video is not about traffic control. It's not about building new interchanges. This is about people who survive and who endure. Everybody's going through the same process, whether it's work, school. This is about the survival. This is about survival.
And doing what you have to do.
Doing what you have to do happily, cheerfully. And the time will come when we will all be retirees if we endure.
Exactly.
And you're teaching your children how to put up with inconveniences.
And to be responsible for their family.
Because there will always be upheavals in life.
Yeah.
And you teach them how to be responsible for future generations.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
It's a chain cycle.
A chain cycle.
Around. Yeah.
You know? I mean, look at those big trucks there out there on the highway there.
You remember the days, eh?
Yes, and those men with those carrying gravel and sand, they spent hours the evening before in a gravel pit waiting to be loaded, and they're going to make maybe 2 or 3 trips depending on where they come from, how far away they're going to be traveling.
Yeah.
But they all have a family to mind,
Exactly.
to care for, you know, to love, and therefore they do it, and somebody else is going to come along and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So this is about endurance, about, as you say, bumper to bumper. Let's call this in bumper to bumper breakfast.
Breakfast?
Yes. Incidentally, I in the dark this morning, I got up because I knew we were going to do this thing. And, hey, wait a minute.
What?
What's that? Only 1 cup?
Well, you
One
know,
sandwich?
Well, you know, it's 50-50.
No, but it's not.
Anybody take it?
I mean, I had another sandwich and another cup. You see, that's the problem, you know. Sometimes you have to hustle out so much that I brought your share and I forgot mine.
But Daddy, the days for that over, darling. The days for that over. We are on retirement. There's no need to hustle.
Well, you see, the thing about it is you can't help it. Once you get into the mode, you begin. For instance, you could leave home in semi-dark, and I could ask you all the way down, hey, did you take off all the lights? Did you unplug the charger? You left the key in the door? It's too far. We're too far away now to turn back. You know what you gotta do? I'm gonna call the neighbor now, but maybe she's still asleep. Oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? Should I go back home, Louise? Well, you're gonna have to say something like, you know, drop me to work first, because we just passed that. Was that big clock you used to be looking at?
In Aranguez, yeah, as you enter in Aranguez on the highway, boy, every morning we looking at that clock and bet your bottom dollar is 7:30, 7:45, and I had to reach home for 7:30. Eh?
So wait a minute, how many warning letters you got in those days?
Well, boy, let me tell you something. In those days, you know, companies was a little bit compassionate, and they really put up with little shortcomings, because getting to work late was an island-wide problem. It wasn't only me; it was everybody was in it, and still is in it. As I say, almost 8 o'clock. I'm sure people have to get into town for 8 o'clock. So, and with this kind of traffic, you're not going to get to work until 9 o'clock. Then you have to get a parking spot. When you reach to work now, you're tired, you know.
Of course.
You're tired, you're studying. This evening you had to pick up the children again.
Yeah, performance is hindered.
Of course. But here now, man, as you're asking about warning letter, every morning, as I say, 7:30, 7:45, I pass in where I work to now go into town to drop children Woodbrook and in the middle of Port of Spain. Here now, man, it had a morning. We stopped right there by the traffic light. And this old lady boy hustling to cross the road in front of me. And the next thing you know, the woman fall down in front of the car.
Oh my goodness. You knocked her over?
Well, boy, I couldn't even tell if I knocked the old lady over or the old lady was walking so fast that she fell down. But she was heading in a southerly direction, crossing in front of me. She was heading south. And when she get up, she just turned around and start heading north.
Wow. She got disoriented.
And she headed in the direction of the hospital. So I drop off my son there and proceed to drop off the girls in Woodbrook. But all this time we worried about the little old lady here. The girls saying, well, mommy, you'll have to go back and look for her because you don't know if you bounce her. And you have to be honest, you know. You can't hit and run. You have to be honest. The old lady, you bounce her, you have to go. So please go back to the hospital and look for her. Well, true enough, I come back, I passed in the hospital, I went in casualty. I didn't see anybody like the little old lady. Anyway, then I went in the police station. All this time now is after 9, you know.
Oh my goodness.
And I had to reach him 7:30.
Oh, wow.
So when I went to the police station, the policeman was very kind and he sympathized with me. And he said, madam, don't worry. Maybe the old lady fell. Maybe you never bounced her. But that is very nice of you to take responsibility. So you go to work and do the company work. So that was one episode that was not very funny.
No, not at all.
That was not funny. That was no laughing matter.
No.
But I will give you one that was quite funny.
Go ahead.
Well, in those days, you used to drive. And so we rolling back in time. So, I continuously reaching to work late. My boss say, I will have to give you a warning letter. Management is very serious about late coming. So I will have to give you a warning letter, Louise. So please cooperate with me. I said, well, it's not that I am not cooperating. It's just the situation. Every day is something new on the highway. Traffic jam. You wake up, children are not robots. That's a morning one of your children may not want to go to school. Somebody crying, they have a headache. You have to deal with all of these things before you come to work. He said, anyway, I am telling you, tomorrow morning, if you come to work here late, you get in a warning letter.
And you're getting a what?
A warning letter.
All right.
Well, boy, I gone home that day. I intercede with the children. Let us cooperate. Mommy's going to get a warning letter. I don't want to get a warning letter. I have been late continuously. So this is serious business. That morning, everybody get up and cooperated. Nobody fussed. Everybody was just supporting mommy. Daddy get all the lunch kits in the car. Make sure we haven't forgotten any book bags or anything. Do you know that morning the traffic was ever more? You couldn't even see what was causing the traffic. There was no accident, there were no police on the road, but you just know, stress like that.
Stress like that.
Well, by the time before I could reach to work, I am in tears. I'm in tears because now it's 9 o'clock. I was supposed to reach work for 7:30. So instead of going to my desk, I walked straight into my boss's office and I threw my handbag. On his desk. And I sat down and I wept bitterly. And he said, he'd keep giving me hand towel, dry your eyes, relax, Louise. Do you want some water? He gave me water. I drank the water. I was still distressed, I was still crying. I said, "Could give me the warning letter now." He smiled. Say, "Before I do that, you want some coffee?" I said, "Yes, thank you." He took his thermos and he poured out coffee for me. And he poured out the coffee for me. And I started drinking coffee. I think I need some coffee today even. Just to talk about this coffee just got me nostalgic.
All right, go right ahead.
I dry my tears and I say, good coffee, Mr. H.
Mr. H, right, go ahead.
Mr. H smiling and saying, "Well, boy, I mightn't really get this warning letter after all." So he said, "You want a sandwich too?" I said, "You have that too to give me?" He said, "Yes, man. Here you go." I said, "But Mr. H, your wife does really take good care of you, man. Imagine sandwich for yourself and sandwich even for you to give to your staff who distress." I say, "Man, this is great." Nobody else, you know. You get happy. Once you get something to eat, you happy, you know. So then the phone rang and Lancy called the boss and he said, "Boss, I have dropped off my wife to work. She's very, very distressed. So please deal gently with her for me, please. I know that she has really gone beyond the call of abuse in late coming, but this morning is an exception. She really tried." So he said, "Well, I have her right now in front of me here, and she's having coffee and sandwich."
You had a very considerate boss.
Let me tell you something. I would like to personally big up Mr. H this morning. Mr. H, when I got my job, I was very young and very inexperienced in the working world. And he took me like a little sister under his wings. And he taught me to do neat work and accurate work. And if my job, that time you had to write up everything, no computer, you know, everything is written. You have a book for everything, a logbook for receipt, banking, everything. And if I had one mistake, a scratch or something, he will tell me, he will draw a line through it and tell me, "Do it over." And I really at times used to be distressed for his perfectionism. But you know, I appreciated that first boss I had throughout my life of working with the old company. He prepared me in a way that I could have stood up and handled my stories. he was a really good influence in my career life. And thank you, Mr. H. And I'm enjoying the breakfast even 40 years later.
Very good, very good. It's nice to be able to big up, as you say, bosses who cared and who, you know, guided you through your career. It's wonderful to be a boss who you could look back and say, well, you know, he did me a great favor in molding a part of my personality. And, you know, it's not just about handing out work and getting it correct, but there was a relationship that transcends, you know, just employer-employee, boss, subordinate. It's about feelings, eh? You know, my heart really goes out to every parent, every child right now in that traffic out there.
Yeah, boy.
And it's not really, again, as I say, about us finding a solution about whether we carpool or whether we have 1,000 overpasses. It's about the everyday struggle where people try to make the best and to give this nation a real deserved place on the map, the first world map, you know?
Yeah.
The policemen, civil servants, public servants, we really appreciate all the effort that people make. I mean, this is a tight situation here, but people endure it day after day, and this is a tribute to the resilience of our people. You know, I love my country.
Trinidad is a beautiful place.
I love my country. I love both countries, Trinidad and Tobago. I value everyone who tries to make it a better country for the other person, you know. And we're not here to talk about racial divides and religious preference. We are here to talk about our country and the people who are kind of getting emotional, you know.
That's okay. It said it's okay for men to cry, you know.
Yes.
Years ago they say boys should not cry, they have to be tough. But if our men would learn to cry a little more, whether it is in grief or whether it is in reflection or whether it's happy times, because people do cry when they're happy, that is okay. And our men need probably to get emotional, and that way they will get a better understanding of the fear of sex.
The fear of sex. Okay. Now we're here to talk about traffic and the breakfast and endurance. Eh? Don't swing this thing back to you, please. Anyway, Louise, I think we need to remember our responsibilities too. We have to go and get some chicken. Our daughter wants some chicken from Arawak, so.
And then we're going to take the country drive.
We're going to take a country drive. That's the perks. You know, everybody who's out there and who's struggling.
It's to go to work right now.
Yeah, it's got to go to work. But the end reward is retirement with your children, your grandchildren, and, you know, carrying on the love. How's the coffee anyway?
As a matter of fact, I have already had my 50%. So I was just going to offer you this 50% before you got none.
Thank you very much.
Bye.